The PS5 has been out long enough now that the library is genuinely stacked. And I'm not talking about cross-gen ports or slightly better-looking PS4 games. I'm talking about experiences that justify this hardware. 20 of them. If you own a PS5 and haven't played at least half of these, you're honestly leaving money on the table.
Of the Elden Ring.
Here's the thing about Elden Ring. It doesn't care about you. At all. It drops you in the lands between with almost zero direction and dares you to figure it out. And somehow, that's exactly why it works. The open world isn't a checklist. It's a mystery. You'll ride past a cliff thinking it's decoration, and 3 hours later, you'll find out there was an entire dungeon underneath it. Combat rewards patience over aggression. Every failed attempt teaches you something. And the build variety? Absurd. You can be a colossal sword-swinging berserker or a sorcerer lobbing meteors from a safe distance. Both are legitimate. Boss design is genuinely spectacular. Malenia, Radon, Malekith, you know the names. The lore runs so deep that entire communities exist just to unpack it. This is a once-in-a-generation game, and nothing about that is an exaggeration.
By order of the hierarch.
Let's be real. The side quests in The Witcher 3 are better than the main stories of most other games on this list. That's not a hot take. That's just facts. You'll pick up a contract that looks like a straightforward ghost hunt and end up uncovering a tragedy that hits harder than anything in the campaign. Geralt isn't some wide-eyed hero. He's tired, experienced, and deeply aware that there's rarely a clean solution. That grounded perspective makes every choice feel meaningful. Combat is serviceable early and becomes incredibly fluid once you commit to a build. Monster contracts, researching your target, preparing your potions, then hunting it down, never feel like busy work. Blood and Wine, the expansion, is better than entire games released that same year. Fight me.
I'm not like you.
Nobody asked for a soft reboot of God of War. Nobody. And yet, Santa Monica delivered one of the best action games ever made. The Leviathan axe is, and I will die on this hill, the best feeling weapon in gaming history. Throwing it, watching it freeze an enemy mid-lunge, recalling it through 3 enemies on the way back, that never stops being satisfying. Combat forces you to think, not just mash. Positioning, Atreus arrows, runic attacks, all matter. But what really separates this game is the quiet moments. The conversation Kratos has with Atreus about controlling his anger. The look on his face when he has to explain who he used to be. That's what keeps you playing past 2 a.m. Mechanically brilliant, emotionally devastating. One of those rare games that earns every piece of praise it gets.
Does he? About your true nature? Or his own? Most powerful country in the world. New immigrants arrived, thriving outposts became towns, and civilization was spreading rapidly into the huge, wild, and lawless frontier.
RDR2 will genuinely not be for everyone watching this, and I'm okay saying that. This is not a fast game. It breathes. Arthur Morgan moves like a man who has weight in the world, and if you try to rush it, you'll hate every second. But if you give it what it asks for, it becomes the most immersive experience in gaming, full stop. The world operates on its own time. NPCs remember you, react to your reputation, go about routines that have nothing to do with your storyline. Hunting, fishing, camp interactions, all of it builds something that feels less like a game and more like living somewhere. Arthur's arc is the best character writing Rockstar has ever produced. The ending will stay with you for weeks. Don't skip this one because the pace scared you off.
You coming, buddy?
This one's going to start arguments, and honestly, good. The Last of Us Part 2 is the most polarizing game of the last decade, and it's also, mechanically, one of the best. The combat is uncomfortable on purpose. Enemies react to wounds, scream each other's names, and their dogs will smell you through walls. Stealth feels genuinely desperate rather than a puzzle to solve cleanly. Every encounter has that low resource, I might not survive this tension that the first game nailed, pushed even further here. Now, the story. People are still arguing about the narrative decisions. Here's my take. The discomfort you feel is intentional, and whether you think it lands or not, no game this generation made you feel more. Play it, form your own opinion. Don't let the internet do it for you.
I have to finish it.
Have much time. Move.
The traversal in Spider-Man 2 is the best movement system in any open-world game right now. Period. Web wings, speed slingshots, dive to swing chains, you will arrive somewhere and genuinely forget what mission you were on because getting there was that fun. Combat is fast and aerial, juggling enemies with webs while switching gadgets mid-combo and never needing to touch the ground if you don't want to. The symbiote mechanics give Peter a harder, more aggressive edge that contrasts nicely with Miles's fluid, bioelectric style. Switching between them keeps the pacing from ever dragging. The boss fights are legitimately spectacular, the kind of set pieces you screenshot and send to your friends. If there's a criticism, the story plays things a bit safe, but this is the complete superhero game. Nothing close to it right now.
To protect the people I love.
Some random act of violence. This was a ritual.
If you want to see what your hardware is actually capable of, you play Alan Wake 2. It's a psychological survival horror that looks so good it's bordering on photorealistic. Zero exaggeration. The lighting, the atmosphere, the way the forest in Bright Falls feels alive and threatening. It's a technical masterpiece. But it's not just a tech demo. The dual protagonist story between Alan and Saga is weird, experimental, and genuinely unsettling. Combat is slow, heavy, and every bullet feels like a massive investment. You'll spend half your time in the mind place or the writer's room piecing together a mystery that keeps shifting under your feet. It's slow burn horror at its absolute peak. Don't play this with the lights off unless you're prepared to lose sleep.
Show me the terror.
Show me the terror.
PT-7274. Your data recorder says your original pilot was killed in action.
A crime was committed when Titanfall 2's campaign launched to almost zero attention. A genuine crime. The wall running and gunplay are so smooth that movement itself becomes the primary satisfaction. Chaining runs, slides, and mid-air kills in a single fluid sequence never stops feeling incredible. But what nobody tells you before you go in is that the level design is some of the most inventive in FPS history. One level has you bouncing between two timelines, past and present, with a single button press, using the mechanic for both combat and traversal puzzles. Another puts you on an industrial assembly line dodging machinery at speed. And then there's the relationship between you and BT, your Titan. It hits. More than you'd expect from a game that lasts 6 hours. Start it. You will not stop until it's done.
Bring it to me. To me, Deke. You do that. We'll see what we can do for you.
Days Gone got unfairly buried, and I'll keep saying it until people actually play it. The opening hours are slow, genuinely slow, and that's probably why so many people bounced. But stick with it. The Pacific Northwest is rendered beautifully, and your motorcycle isn't just transportation, it's survival. Fuel management, route planning, upgrading the drifter bike, all of it matters constantly. And the hordes. The hordes. Hundreds of freakers moving together as a single organism. And you're standing there with a half-empty magazine and a Molotov deciding whether to fight or sprint. That tension is unlike anything else in the genre. The story creeps up on you. Deacon's relationship with the world around him becomes genuinely personal in ways that sneak past your defenses. Give it 6 hours before you judge it.
There was no time, there was no room, okay? We'd already turned on each other when the hordes arrived.
People are suffering. Soon. They'll starve. And the machines meant to help us are out of control.
The machine combat in Horizon Forbidden West is a masterclass in building layered systems. Every machine is essentially a walking puzzle. Different weak points, different components to strip, different elemental vulnerabilities. Figuring out how to take down a Slitherfang or a Slaughter Spine on your first encounter, with no guide, using what you have, that problem-solving loop is endlessly satisfying. The Forbidden West itself is beautiful and genuinely diverse. Dense rainforests, submerged ruins, frozen mountain passes, desert canyons, all connected without a single loading screen. The glider alone transforms how you approach traversal and exploration. Aloy's expanded toolkit means each encounter has more options than the first game. And the machine designs keep escalating. The Apex variants will humble you quickly, as they should. Nobody was prepared for how good Ghost of Tsushima was going to be. Sucker Punch had no business delivering this, but they did. Sword combat is the most cinematic in any open-world game right now. Stance switching between enemy types, reading their telegraphs, landing a perfect parry. It feels like directing your own samurai film. The duel encounters stop time before the fight begins and genuinely create tension before a single button is pressed. The world responds to Jin's journey. Wind guides you to objectives naturally. Rumbling leaves point towards secrets. It's environmental design that trusts you to explore rather than drowning you in map icons. Director's Cut with Iki Island is the definitive version. Don't skip the expansion.
Where are they?
Come on, just run as fast as you can!
Amicia de Rune and her young brother Hugo set out on a poetic and harrowing journey.
A Plague Tale Innocence puts you in the least powerful position possible. A teenager with a slingshot and a little brother to protect. And somehow makes that feel exactly right for the story it's telling. Most of the game is about movement and light. Rats fill every dark space and devour anything they touch. So you're constantly managing torches, fires, and shadows just to move forward. The few times you're forced to fight back, it's crude and desperate in a way that feels honest to what Amicia actually is. The relationship between her and Hugo carries everything. The writing understands that protection and fear look identical sometimes. Short, focused, and quietly devastating. If you've been sleeping on this franchise, that's a mistake.
These dark times mean they aren't the only ones forced to adapt, developing vital skills to survive an uncaring world. And Amicia and Hugo.
The genius of Dying Light is that it turned movement into combat. Running away from things is the gameplay. The parkour system is responsive enough that every rooftop, balcony, and ledge becomes a tool for escaping, for gaining angle, for luring zombies off edges. During the day, it's a tense but manageable open world. The moment the sun drops, volatiles emerge and the entire game becomes a sprint for the nearest safe house. Getting caught at night, sprinting across rooftops with something fast closing the gap behind you, that's pure panic, and it works every single time. Weapon crafting keeps melee fresh. You'll have electrified cleavers and flaming sledgehammers within a few hours. The day-night cycle isn't a gimmick. It fundamentally changes how you play this game.
Born here, I live here, and downright refuse to die anywhere else. What the?
Yes, we're putting Cyberpunk 2077 on this list. The 2026 version of this game, not the disaster that launched. The game it became after 2 years of patches and a phenomenal expansion in Phantom Liberty. Night City is the most detailed open world ever built. Every street corner, back alley, and corporate tower has texture and history. The build variety is staggering. Full stealth netrunner who never fires a gun, pure aggression with Sandevistan slow motion, or anything in between. The main story with V and Johnny Silverhand is one of the most genuinely complex character relationships in gaming. And Phantom Liberty? Separate masterpiece. If you dropped this at launch and never came back, you owe yourself another chance. This is a different game now.
Every day making it great, stepping up to with the stakes, city of dreams, city of gang, you don't believe in no fate, I might just dig up your grave, stepping up to with the
Which side you on?
BioShock Infinite's opening is still one of the most striking in gaming. Stepping off a rocket into a sunlit floating American city in 1912 is a moment that just lands. The world building does something most games can't. It makes a fantastical setting feel politically and culturally specific. Columbia isn't just a backdrop, it's a statement. Combat uses the Skyhook and Skyrail system to keep you aggressive and mobile, launching off rails, combining vigor powers with gunplay, using Elizabeth's reality tears to pull in cover or turrets mid-fight. The ending recontextualizes the entire game. On second playthrough, you'll see exactly how deliberate every single detail was. The kind of game that rewards you for paying attention.
Tear it down. Tear it all down.
When I came here with my friends,
Every Far Cry game since 3 has been chasing what Far Cry 3 did, and none of them have fully caught it. That's not nostalgia talking, that's just the data. The power progression is perfectly tuned. You start as a panicking civilian and end as the most dangerous person on the island. The outpost system is a sandbox that rewards creativity. You can approach each one as a stealth puzzle, a chaos experiment, or anything in between. Releasing a caged tiger into a compound of armed mercenaries never gets old. Voss is still one of gaming's all-time villain performances, genuinely unsettling in a way that most games never achieve. The island is gorgeous and hostile in equal measure. Far Cry 3 set a template that still hasn't been beaten. That should tell you everything.
they have no remorse. And they're holding my friends captive.
Pull the trigger. How do I know you're not a deviant?
Detroit Become Human takes the branching narrative concept and actually commits to it. Characters die permanently. Entire storylines collapse based on your decisions. The flowchart that appears at the end of each chapter, showing every path, every outcome you missed, turns replaying into an obsession rather than a chore. 3 protagonists, 3 completely different emotional registers. Connor's cold, analytical android hunting logic, Marcus's growing conviction about android rights, Kara's desperate maternal urgency to protect a child. Each plays differently in both gameplay and tone. The world building is uncomfortably plausible, a near-future Detroit where android labor has fractured society in ways that mirror real conversations happening right now. Your choices genuinely matter here. Play it twice and see how different it gets.
More. Get away! Fight Jericho! I know someone who can help you.
To a long night of captivity. Lost in the dark.
Forget the Assassin's Creed part of the name for a second. Black Flag is simply one of the best pirate games ever made. Full stop. Sailing the Caribbean, hunting down trade routes, managing your crew, and upgrading the Jackdaw creates a loop that doesn't need anything else to justify the price of entry. Naval combat is impactful in a way that should have been iterated on for years. Broadside cannons, mortar strikes, ramming. Every engagement feels consequential. Edward Kenway isn't a trained assassin turned into a symbol. He's a pirate stumbling into something bigger than himself. And that makes his arc feel considerably more grounded than most of the series. The sea shanties alone are worth it. Don't laugh, you'll be singing them.
Under the black flag of Assassin's Creed 4.
You know the trouble with an adventurous life?
Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is not for people who want a power fantasy. Know that going in. You are a blacksmith's son in medieval Bohemia. Combat is skill-based and momentum-driven. Timing, stamina, positioning, and reading your opponent matter infinitely more than your equipment level. The world is historically obsessive in its detail. NPC schedules, eating habits, weather systems, political tensions. Nothing is handheld. Dialogue choices carry actual consequences that ripple across hours of story. The learning curve is steep and the game knows it, but the players who commit to it consistently call it one of the most rewarding RPG experiences they've ever had. That's the gap between casual and serious gaming, and this game lives in it. Everybody thought a Pinocchio-themed Souls-like was going to be a joke. They were wrong. Lies of P is one of the most polished, punchy, and punishing action RPGs since Bloodborne. The combat is built around a perfect parry system that feels incredibly tight once you find the rhythm. Weapon crafting is the real highlight. You can take the blade from a heavy cleaver and stick it on the handle of a fast rapier to create something that fits your specific playstyle. Krat is a beautiful, decaying Belle Epoque nightmare, and the boss fights are some of the most mechanically demanding in the genre. It's hard, it will humble you, but the satisfaction of finally timing that block perfectly, nothing else comes close. Fight me.
I'll do whatever it takes. Your survival is all that matters.
Shadow of the Colossus is arguably the closest gaming has come to pure art. That's a strong claim, and I'll defend every word of it. There are no regular enemies, no towns, no loot, no side quests. Just you, your horse, and 16 colossi scattered across an empty, grieving world. Each one is a puzzle. Figuring out how to reach them is half the battle before you ever start climbing. The moment you scramble up the fur of a creature the size of a building while it tries to shake you off is something you don't forget. And the game never tells you whether what you're doing is right. That moral ambiguity sits with you long after the credits. The visuals, the music, the sense of scale, all working together towards something that shouldn't be possible in a game. Play it.
We were meant for this, Nathan.
Uncharted 4 knows exactly what it is, and that confidence makes it exceptional. The set pieces have no business being this well executed. A clock tower collapsing around you, a convoy chase through Madagascar mud, an entire pirate colony to explore. Traversal is the tightest it's ever been in the series, and the rope adds vertical dimension to gunfights in ways that feel genuinely organic rather than tacked on. But the thing that separates this entry is the maturity of its quieter moments. Nathan and Elena having real conversations about what it means to settle down, a childhood flashback that reframes the entire story. Naughty Dog knew when to slow down. That restraint, knowing when to not explode something, is a skill most action games never develop.
Look, Nate, I'm gonna make you a one-time offer. Drop everything.
Disco Elysium has no combat. None. And it's one of the most engaging games on this list. You play a detective so destroyed by a breakdown that you can't remember your own name, trying to solve a murder in a city that's barely holding itself together after decades of failed political experiments. Every skill in your character sheet is a voice in your head. Your electrochemistry urges you toward bad decisions. Your inland empire whispers about things that shouldn't exist. Your authority demands respect even when you've done nothing to deserve it. The writing is some of the most intelligent in any medium. Sharp, sad, genuinely funny, and politically honest in ways that make most games look cowardly. There is nothing like it. Play it once and you'll think about it for years. Real talk, Death Stranding 2 will lose a significant percentage of people in the first 2 hours. That's by design. The core loop is delivering cargo across a hostile, fractured world. And if you lean into the moment-to-moment decision-making around terrain, weight distribution, and weather, something strange happens. It becomes meditative in a way no other game manages. New traversal tools give you more options for navigating impossible terrain. Combat encounters are disorienting and intentionally off balance. BTS pull you into tar-soaked void encounters where preparation matters more than reflexes. The performances across the cast are remarkable. This is Kojima at his most uncompromising. Not for everyone, absolutely for someone. If you're that someone, it's one of the most singular experiences in gaming.
One stroke, and everyone of that age vanished.
Clair Obscur. Expedition 33 came from a small studio with almost zero marketing, and immediately became one of the best RPGs in years. The combat system is turn-based but demands real-time skill. Parrying and dodging mid-enemy turn adds an execution layer that most turn-based games don't even attempt. The world is hand-painted and genuinely unlike anything in the genre. Surreal, melancholic, and achingly beautiful in a way that makes you stop and just look. Party composition matters in ways that reward experimentation, and the story? It builds quietly, stacking emotional weight across a long journey until the final act hits with a force that's completely disproportionate to what you expected. Remember the name. This studio is going to matter for a long time.